the most powerful body composition tool. Do you know what it is? Most people don't. This one simple, cheap tool is the most powerful thing you can use to rapidly improve your body composition. You want to build maximum amounts of muscle or lose maximum amounts of fat or both at the same time, then this tool is what you need to use if you want to make sure that happens. If you don't use this tool, then it is a guarantee, listen, a guarantee, factually, that you will not achieve your goal at the fastest rate possible. Does it mean that you won't achieve the goal? No, just at the fastest rate possible, okay? And by the way, nobody understands or uses it properly or even uses it at all. Now, I am, of course, talking about the infamous body weight scale. I can't tell you the amount of people who 99% of their questions need to start with, well, what have been your weigh-ins for the last week? What rate are you gaining weight at? What rate are you losing weight at? If you want to maximize a cut, you have to know and make sure that you're within a certain average weekly weight rate loss, okay? If you want to maximize what you get out of your bulk, you need to know what rate of weight gain you are achieving to ensure that you stay within the appropriate one. Or else you're going to get too fat too quick. Or else you're going to lose muscle on your cut if you go too fast or too slow. You're not going to be motivated. Okay? The only way to know that is with the scale, but only if you use it properly. So that's what we're going to go through today in depth. This one training will change your entire understanding and perspective on how to use the scale, and it will unlock a next level of results for you that still almost nobody does currently or will be using this to accelerate their results. Now, let's talk about the tool itself. Okay? Now, I've already spoiled it. It is the scale. I had to mention it at some point. It has become the most underrated and improperly utilized tool, but it is one of the most powerful, okay? It's clear if you don't use it properly or at all, then you're going to slow your rate of results down. There's actually no possible argument for this aside from one of the ones that's found in the common mistakes section, okay? But again, that person is not able to argue that you're going to see faster results without the scale. It's just that a lot of people will see faster results than if they use the scale because they mentally have issues with the fact that the scale is a powerful tool and actually means something. People are, oh, I don't want to get caught up on the scale, or they just think it means nothing. And so their justification is it messes them up if they use the scale, and therefore it's better for them if they don't use it. Okay, these people just need to understand the scale better. And this training will help those individuals as well. So let's break down how to actually use this properly and why it's so crucial, as well as the common mistakes everybody still makes today. And you're probably making, if not one, all of these mistakes. So starting with those common mistakes, all right? Number one is not weighing yourself at the right time, all right? So you're weighing yourself at different times throughout the day, or you're weighing yourself with a bunch of clothes on one day. Next day you weigh yourself naked first thing in the morning. One day you're weighing yourself in the evening after eating and drinking the whole day. One day you're waking up and you're weighing yourself before you use the restroom. The next day you weigh yourself after you use the restroom. We need consistency in the right time, okay? I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use that. You can skip and scroll through to the chapter if you want to figure that out, but I highly recommend you watch this part. Number two, weighing yourself any less than every single day. Now keep in mind, also weighing yourself more than once a day is stupidity. Unless, of course, you're like, you need to cut weight for XYZ event, different story. I'm talking about, for body composition purposes, there's zero reason to weigh yourself multiple times a day. And in fact, that's just an obsessive behavior and you're understanding the scale from a different point of view typically, okay? So don't need to weigh yourself more than daily. If you understand the scale properly, you can do that. You can weigh yourself last thing before nighttime to kind of predict, but you still can't predict, so it's basically pointless, all right? Now, thinking fat loss or muscle growth occurs day to day. The scale is going to go like this. It is simply inevitable. There's nothing you can do to change that ever, no matter what. And so, your mistake is thinking that if the weight on the scale went up, you just gained a ton of fat. That's not how it works. Or if the scale went down, you just gained a ton of muscle, or you lost a ton of fat, okay? Let me try to do it this way, okay? Overnight weight gain. I'm going to show you what it actually is. There's going to be a good thing here. Here we go, okay? This is more realistic. Now, this isn't the most scientific one, but just to show you, If you gain 2 to 3 pounds overnight, what you think it is fat. This is why the scale messes you up. You step on the scale, I'll gain fat. Or if you're bulking, you step on the scale, you lose some weight, I gotta eat more. Stupid. This is what it actually is. It's going to be an excess of water, okay, that you're retaining, food, actual food volume and weight. You have a cheat day, a lot of that's going to be water. Then it's the actual extra volume of food you have in your system that you're not used to having. And then it's going to be a little bit of fat if you're in that big of a surplus. Oftentimes, this is a lot smaller than what's depicted here, okay? Hopefully we understand this now. Next issue is thinking the number on the scale shouldn't fluctuate every day. I just mentioned it's going to. It has to. You are a body with so many moving parts, you can't fathom, okay? So no matter what happens, there's so many moving parts, you can't control all of them. You don't want to control all of them. And as a result, it's going to be some fluctuations day to day. Now, the depth of those fluctuations, the mass, the magnitude of those fluctuations can definitely tell us something about consistency-wise of other variables, your nutrition, sleep, etc. But for the most part, there's still going to be fluctuations, okay? They might be small, they're still going to be there. Next is thinking the scale doesn't tell the whole story, so it's pointless, okay? These people have all or nothing mentality. Well, the scale doesn't define me, or, who cares about the scale? Like, it's just a thing you use once in a while. I get a lot of people, clients that would book consults or whatever, ask me questions, and they say, I've hit a plateau. I'm not gaining muscle. I'm not gaining weight at the rate that I want, or I'm not even gaining weight. I'm not progressing at the rate that I want. And I said, well, what is your current weekly rate of weight gain? They're like, well, I don't really weigh myself that often. Okay, start weighing yourself every day. And what you're going to learn from this is that it's an auto-regulatory thing. Stick around. I'm going to give you an important analogy for you to understand just how important this is. And how the fact that it's going past everybody's minds and they think they're going to build in the same physique without using the scale properly or at all is hilarious, okay? Next is, of course, not using an accurate digital scale. So you should use a digital scale so that there's no guess. That looks like no. Digital, okay? We live in 2024 right now. And next is making sure that digital scale is accurate, okay? So you can easily search up if it's a credible scale or not online. And make sure that it actually goes to a smaller decimal point. There are some digital scales out there that only go like half a pound up or down at a time. This isn't good. You need more accuracy than that. And the last issue is attaching your emotions to the scale. This is very dumb. There's no other way to put it. If you step on the scale and you think that it's, I don't like looking at the scale, or, you think, well, I don't want to step on the scale because I'm too skinny or too fat, or, I don't like the number. That's actually unintelligence. Okay, understand that. You can't allow that thought process to continue. We can forgive you for having such a thought process currently. But now that you watch this, if you are actually watching this and consuming it, you are not allowed to have that thought anymore, okay? Because it doesn't make sense, and this training is going to help you understand why. Now, why it is crucial. Here is your analogy. Checking the scale every day equals checking your bank account every day. How many people do that? You might think, well, almost nobody. How many people do you know that are rich? Well, almost nobody. Yeah, that's why. People that are overweight, that become overweight, or people that are super skinny, never weigh themselves. They never hold themselves accountable, okay? So the question is, do you want to be poor? Do you want to be fat or weak? No? Then checking these two numbers daily will instantly keep you in check over time. Why? Or how? Because if you weigh yourself every single day and you calculate your weekly average, and then you notice your weight is not changing at all in accordance to your goal of either a steady rate of weight loss or gain, or worse yet, you're noticing your weight changing in a way you don't want it to, then you're probably going to change your behavior because it's auto-regulatory. So if I want to save money, okay, suddenly you have this notion, you're like, okay, I'm going a little crazy here. I want to save some money. Or you just decide, I want to improve my financial situation. Well, what you should probably start doing is tracking some expenses, okay? So you start tracking expenses. How? You start looking at your bank account daily. And what do you notice? Oh my God, where did that payment come from? Oh my God, I got to cut that payment. I don't use that service. You go out for a night out in the bar. You're like, I spent $150? No, I can't have that. I need to tone that back, or I need to stop going out to the bar so often, etc. You don't have to come up with this elaborate plan to start cutting expenses. You just look, and because you're now aware of the leak in the system, the issue, you will go about resolving it simply because your goal is to do so, right? But if you're not checking your bank account, then yeah, people wake up one day like, oh my God, that's all I have. Right. Same thing with the weight. People wake up one day and they're like, oh, I still haven't seen any progress. I'm not gaining any muscle. I still weigh 150. I look the same. Or, oh my God, how did I get to 250 pounds? This is insane. Because you weren't checking, you weren't holding yourself accountable. Okay? The amount of times I've gotten not asked questions or that I got on consults, I've already mentioned this, and I then ask them their weekly rate of gain or loss. They don't even know and they don't track it. This is stupidity at its ultimate peak, right? If you came to me and I'm your financial advisor and you say, okay, cool, so I want to save money. I want to save, okay, cool, how much do you want to save? I want to save X amount every month. Awesome. How much do you make currently? And you say, I don't know. Okay. Well, how much do you spend at the moment? I don't know. How much is in your bank account right now? How much does it go up by or go down by? I don't know. Well, I think the first step is to probably know. Same thing with the scale, okay? The scale doesn't tell the whole story. That is correct. But without it, you cannot tell the whole story. So what we do is we use a conjunction of the 5 only key metrics that matter when it comes to improving your physique at the most rapid rate possible. And that is progress pictures, number 1. I'm going to walk you through the system to actually implement this so that you can track these appropriately and without it being so overwhelming. Progress pictures, number 1, every 4 weeks. Number 2, measurements every 4 weeks. Number 3, weigh-ins daily by getting weekly averages. Number 4 is training every single session. And number 5 is your nutrition. Okay? If you miss the scale and you only use the other 4, which funny enough, the people that don't use the scale, they're like, oh, the scale doesn't tell the whole story. I go off the mirror. They don't even go off the mirror because they're not taking regular cadence or consistent angled and lighting pictures, etc. Without it, you won't see what's actually happening. And the thing is that the scale is the only thing that gives you immediate feedback as to whether or not your current plan is working, as opposed to visual changes. Okay, those can take weeks to notice. Measurements could take weeks to see significant changes. The scale provides you feedback every 7 days accurately as to what's going on with your body composition to some degree. If you are continuously gaining weight at a certain rate per week, well, you can be assured that X amount is probably about X amount is probably body fat. X amount is probably muscle, etc. The fastest possible path to steady fat loss while retaining muscle and strength, or steady weight gain to maximize mass gain and minimize fatigue in the process, is by weighing yourself properly. We're going to go through that in a couple of minutes here. The only way to know if you are in the right surplus or deficit. So people ask this question all the time. Hey, I just started. I'm at 2,300 calories. Is this correct? Nobody knows. There is zero. You are asking for nothing. That question is pointless because I get asked that question a million times a day, and I'll just say, okay, I'm at 2,300 calories. Is that appropriate? Guess what I ask? Are you losing at the rate you want to? Oh, I don't know. Well, then how the fuck would I be able to answer your question? I won't be. And now if I'm not credible or I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, which is most people online, I would say, oh, 2,300, that's too low. You go up. Or, oh, 2,300 is too much. Okay? Those people don't know what they're talking about. The question must be reflected back to you. Are you gaining at a certain rate? Are you losing at a certain rate? Oh, I don't know. Tell me first, and then I'll tell you if that number is probably appropriate. All right? So that's why it's crucial. Next, let's talk about understanding the daily fluctuations. This is very simple. There's just a few variables on the surface that will cause your weight to go up and down on a day-to-day basis, no matter what. All right? The first is excess or inconsistent intake of things like calories, carbs, water, sodium, or a combination thereof. All right? So if one day you exercise way more than the other days and everything else is equal, yeah, you'll probably see a drop in the weight because you burned more calories that day, or vice versa. You typically hit 20,000 steps a day, let's just say, and then this day you hit 2,000 because of whatever. You just took the day off. You did nothing but play video games. I don't know. Then yeah, no wonder you gained weight even though your intake was the same. Okay, it adds up. It's a mathematical equation to a large degree. Or you drank way more water all of a sudden one day, or ate way more sodium, or a combination of all these factors. Yes, you're going to have bigger and bigger fluctuations according to how many of these factors at once occur. Okay? Now, less or more exercise than usual has to do with how many calories you're burning, which obviously that is a energy balance equation. Meal timing. So even if all things are fine and on point and as per usual, but all of a sudden you have one big meal really late at night, then that could translate to a little bit more food volume early in the morning than you're used to. Typically, you would have gotten rid of that waste by that time, whatever it is, that could impact it. as well as more carbs. I didn't mention this part, but even if you have the right amount of calories in, the right amount of calories out, but you intake far more carbs as part of the composition of those calories, then that could translate to more water absorption, as obviously every molecule of carbohydrates brings in with it 4 molecules of water, or every gram of carbs brings in with it 4 molecules, something like this, of water. Obviously, you're going to retain more water. There's a higher likelihood you're going to fluctuate upwards. And lastly is going to be hormonal changes, okay? Now, I put water retention here because this is generally more towards women. So when it's that time of the month, then there's almost always fluctuation upwards, as estrogen is elevated typically during this period of time. And as such, water retention is higher as well. Now, let's talk about how to use the scale properly and effectively. This is what you came for. Hopefully by now you understand all the things to get rid of all the junk in your mind about how to use the scale, or why it's important to do so, or why you shouldn't use it in this, that. Now let's talk about it. Let's use some examples. Weigh yourself every single morning before eating or drinking anything, after using the restroom, okay? This needs to be an accurate digital scale like I mentioned. And the one that I use is actually the Vita scale. So Vita Goods scale, or Body Analyzer 1. So Body Analyzer 1, that's one I use. I'm not going to give you an affiliate link because I don't have one. But you can use that, okay? I think maybe I meant to get an affiliate link for it, but I just don't really care to. So you can check that out, but I'm going to give you a free resource here shortly that's going to help you implement this properly in a way that will help you calculate automatically your weekly averages and instantly get you on a fast track to better results. So weigh yourself every single morning before you eat or drink anything, but after you use the restroom. This is going to be your dry weight. This is the most accurate weight you can get. You want to keep that consistent. Now, if you miss the morning weigh-in, okay, fine. Don't get that weigh-in for that day. Don't weigh yourself later and count it. Doesn't make sense. It's so inaccurate. Instead, just take that day off, no problem. But do not make that a consistent habit. This should happen once in a blue moon at most. Next, you're going to plug the data into a weekly trend tracker such as Happy Scale. This is a free app that you can use. By the way, if you want an app that combines all of your fitness data into one place, so that's progress photos with reminders to do it, as well as your weekly weigh-in data and daily weigh-in data, as well as measurements with reminders to take them, as well as your training built into the app, as well as your nutrition congregated into one place. This is part of the app that I offer my private Elite Physiques Pro members. But you can also check out how all this works with the free complete physique tracking system in the physique blueprint that I offer in the link in the description. So grab a free physique blueprint that's going to come with a free physique tracking system built into it that you can also deploy and use right away that'll actually have Happy Scale as part of it. If you want to then go on from there, join Elite Physiques Pro and really take your results to the next level, then you'll have an app that we use to do that. But nonetheless, you need something that's going to help you track. Now, here's the thing. You can use a piece of paper. This is an example of, you can see this is on my channel. I've been doing this for years. It took me so many years before I moved digital to what it is now with the complete physique tracking system available. This is from 5 years ago. You can see in this episode and in so many other episodes of my channel, this is a page of the weigh-in. So what I would do is I would take a brand new page. Let's say here I was cutting. I started to cut, brand new page, and I would literally just physically write down the weigh-ins every day and just physically calculate them each week. This is a 2-second habit. And look at that, steady progress every single week. Week 1, 217.8. I'll even play this for you, as you'll be able to see. I'm talking about the fact that it's just perfect, predictable progress. And I was ripped as a result, or I was getting ripped at least, okay? So you can check out these videos. You'll see me actually put this into practice. Of course, I practice what I preach. Nonetheless, you can use paper. I recommend digital. Check out the free link in the description below for the physique blueprint. Now, use these trends, your weekly, daily, or weekly averages, in conjunction with tracking the other 4 key areas that I mentioned, okay? So that is, again, progress photos, measurements, you want training, and you want nutrition, and then the scale is number 5. Okay, now keep in mind, do not weigh yourself at different times or multiple times throughout the day. Only once, first thing in the morning. If you miss once at a blue moon, make it, fine. No problem. Other than that, keep it consistent every single day. It's a 2-second habit that will keep you on point no matter what, all the time. Next, do not get attached to the number that the scale shows. You must understand fitness is a long-term game. So the sooner you realize and understand this, the quicker you're going to see results, because you won't be dismayed by daily fluctuations. So if you're bulking, you're not going to be dissuaded by, oh no, I gained a pound overnight. That's what people do. They're like, oh, I got to start a mini cut right away. It makes no sense, guys. You're missing the point. You think this is a 2-month sprint. It's a 20-year sprint. Okay, it's a 20-year marathon. It's a 50-year marathon, for crying out loud. So keep it weekly average is what matters. You think you gained a pound overnight. Does that really matter? It's going to average out to less if you stay on point the rest of the time. Even if you gain 3 pounds. Oh my God, I got to cut. Vice versa. People gain weight on a cut. They're like, oh my God, I just undid all the progress. No, that's going to happen. Let me give you an example of how that looks, okay? Over here is a sample of somebody who weighs themselves once a week. Let's say that they weigh themselves on day 1. They weigh in at 200.4 pounds. Then they don't weigh themselves until the next week on day 8. 200.2 pounds. This individual is going to look at this and say, oh, the scale doesn't work. I'm not seeing results. This person has no idea what they're doing. And because of this, they're going to deter themselves, change their plan, and basically mess everything up. Instead, you can see here the person, the example that weighs himself every single day, weighs himself on day 1. It's also 200.4 pounds. But look at all the other weigh-ins, okay? Now, let's say on Sunday, this typically happens. You have a bit of a carb up, a refeed perhaps, okay? If we're cutting here in this example. Well, yes, you're going to gain weight because of the fluctuations that I just mentioned. That's totally normal, and almost none of it, if not none of it at all, is going to be body fat. But this person knows that everything's going according to plan. A fluctuation, no big deal. I mean, look at all these 190s that they weighed in at earlier on in the week. This person will not have that information, will not have that data, and will make uneducated decisions and assumptions because of it that'll ruin their progress and put them off track immediately. This is why 99% of people will never achieve the physique they want. By the way, real quick, the free physique blueprint, link in the description. You're getting all that stuff. Here is the tracking system I mentioned, okay? So I hope that example makes sense. With that said, let's talk about some pro tips, okay? Some extra little tips for you that should help. If you miss a weigh-in for the day, I've already mentioned, but I figured it's worth reiterating. Do not input it for that day. Just don't try to get another weigh-in later on or something like that. Just make it consistent. The less consistent it is, the more that the scale is not showing you what is actually happening. Okay? Next, check this out. This has been the single biggest game changer. I've tried this on 1,000 people already. All my clients in the past, etc. Myself, I do this all the time. This is a huge pro tip. If you're going on vacation and you don't want to be completely glued to tracking all your food and hitting your life, right? Like you go on vacation, you don't want to be, you're going with your friends, you're going with your family, you don't want to be like pulling a fucking scale at the, come on. We don't have to do that. You're on vacation. Doesn't mean you slack, but here's what you do. Bring a scale, or if you're in a place that you can get a bathroom scale, even if you just get it and then return it before the end of the vacation, that's easily possible. I've done that myself. Get the scale temporarily, and all you have to do each morning is follow the protocol, weigh yourself, and that's it. Plug it in, and guess what's going to happen? Auto regulation. Let's say that you want to be at a maintenance, which is typically the best way to go on vacation. You're not trying to lose or gain, trying to maintain on vacation. Okay, back to maintenance. Well, guess what? If you're weighing yourself each day, you don't have to track anything. All of a sudden, after day 1, boom, a jump in 3 pounds. You're going to be more mindful automatically that next day. You might have a salad instead of that big meal that you had the night before, things like that. This auto-regulatory thing it's as simple as that. All of a sudden, you don't have to track on vacation. You can enjoy yourself more. And this it's like checking your bank account when you go out. You go out, you check your bank account, you're like, oh, whoa, I got to be careful. Next time you go out, maybe you're going out the next day, let's say, you're going to be like, okay, guys, no, I'll grab this and that's it. I can't spend any more. Auto-regulatory, okay? So with that said, to summarize here, I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope now you understand the importance of the scale, how to use it properly to actually ensure the fastest possible results. Listen carefully. There is no refuting this. I encourage anybody to refute the following point. It is 0% possible, factually, to see your fastest and best, most ideal results in losing body fat, in gaining muscle, or both at the same time, or anything health related that also ties in with body composition, without weighing yourself every single day. It is a 2-second habit. It is not only not obsessive, it is intelligent, it is simple, it is easy to incorporate, it doesn't take much time, and with our current, state of the world, we can use an app on our phone to make it even more seamless, easier, more powerful, and just like that. By the way, in the meantime, I recommend you check your bank account every day if you're not doing that yet as well. or at least every single week. The bank account thing could be a little different, as you can see all the transactions prior. Can't do that with the weight. You get the point. Nonetheless, tracking this every single day properly is the key to faster, steadier, predictable results, and never accidentally falling off again, or never understanding why you're quote-unquote stuck. Even if you are in a period of time when you can't track anything or be on the diet perfectly or even train at all, simply weighing yourself every morning will help you auto-regulate how much you spend the next day, okay, aka your budget, and making avoiding fitness disaster from happening. Guaranteed. Hopefully now you understand the truth behind the scale so you can see it for what it is. A very powerful tool, despite what all these influencers say. They're always convincing you all the bullshit that they haven't dove into depth on these topics to understand it better, or coached over 1,000 people themselves that do it, don't understand nuance, etc. It is a powerful tool. It is nothing more than a powerful tool to help you accelerate towards your best physique in record time. Regardless, without that powerful tool, you can't do so at the best of your ability. So I hope now you understand how to integrate. And if you have any questions, comment them down below. I appreciate you all for watching. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want a system to help integrate this right away, plus a complete physique blueprint to build a top 1% physique and get 6 years worth of the average person's results in 6 months or less, check the link in my bio to grab that for free. Aside from that, appreciate you watching. Like I just said, comment any other topics you'd like to see or questions. I'll be getting back to you in the comments, assuming YouTube doesn't shut my comments down again for whatever reason. All right, check out the rest of the channel, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go.